Armed police deployed to the Upper West region town of Nandom to avert reprisals following an incident, the bloody clash between two sects of Muslims that left several homes destroyed. We will speak live with the district chief executive following an emergency meeting on the crisis. Now, armed police officers have been deployed to the Upper West region town to avert reprisals between the two feuding factions. A bloody clash last night left homes destroyed and one person sustaining machete wounds. There have been no arrests since the incident, but police blame the disagreement between two sects of Muslims over marriage as the cause of the chaos. But according to Upper West Regional Minister Al-Hassan Suleiman, religious tension has been simmering in the area for years.
Therefore, some time, but it has been simmering. It has been there for a while, at least. We have tried as much as possible to contain the situation, and we have been speaking to the people to be patient, and they shouldn't take the law into their own hands, so that we'll get whoever is the rightful successor to the late Imam. RECSEC even set up a committee long ago to listen to all the stakeholders, and the report is currently with me. I must say that we want to resolve it amicably amongst all the feuding parties, and our hope is that we want to do the right thing so that it will not recur, this conflict won't recur again. The police have been able to contain the situation, and the town is calm as of now.
Well, some residents have denied police claim that the latest attack was due to disagreements between two sects of Muslims over marriage. One of the residents who was attacked in the clashes yesterday is Alhaji Ibrahim Tijani. He tells Your News authorities are aware the problem is a non-Muslim crisis.
Night, to find a brother of mine came and told me there's a problem, that I shouldn't sit down. So I went inside, I changed my address. I was outside waiting. I'm standing there with a brother, two of my brothers. So the one that who came to me at the beginning and said I shouldn't sit down, that I should prepare, something is going on. He said he will go to his house and come back. After he left about 5 minutes, a young lady ran and came to me that, Alaji, my house is burning. So I followed the girl. That's my wife's room. Really, the room is burning. So we tried to control it. I removed the window, we went inside, and then the people helped me to put the fire off. They know the problem. What happened yesterday, I'm not aware about a marriage. I don't know anything about that.
So as far as you're concerned, this has nothing to do with marriage, as the police have said. It has to do with who replaces or who becomes the chief imam.
Marriage. Why? Why my house? Why Rukaya's house? Why Alaji Doctor's house?
So why? Why do you think? Why do you think your house was targeted?
Is the problem between in non-Muslim crisis about the imamship? Otherwise.
Well, joining us on the line now is the Nandom District Chief Executive Thaddeus Akum. Good evening to you, Mr. Akum. We understand you visited the area to assess the extent of damage. What did you find? Hello, Mr. Akum. If you can hear me, we understand that you visited the area where these bloody clashes happened to assess the extent of damage. What did you find? Hello, Thaddeus Akum. If you can hear me, what have you been able to find when you went to the area where these clashes happened to assess the extent of damage? We're having some issues with the line there to Thaddeus Akum, who's the District Chief Executive for the Nandom area where these bloody clashes have happened. Let's get back to the line and see if he can get to hear us. Thank you very much for joining us, Thaddeus Akum. Now, we understand you visited the area where these bloody clashes happened. What did you find out?
Sorry?
We understand you visited the area where the bloody clashes happened. What is the extent of damage?
Well, I don't know if we say damage. Well, let me say, first of all, after our DASE meeting, we visited the scene, and the intention was to speak to the elders to calm the youth down. And we did that. But if we talk of damage, what I can tell you is that there was an attempt to set the house ablaze. But God being so wonderful, it was quenched immediately. One of the rooms. And so far I'm concerned, that one is not directly related so far as to the issue that is at stake. So if you can ask me.
All right, so what did you find out?
Okay. Last night, there was spontaneous reaction between two factions in London Township, the Zongo area. Two factions, different, coming from different tribes. And my briefing for that meeting this morning from my police command and then his officers when they were in town investigated. A gentleman was interested in the lady, and then they've been moving together. So apparently, the other side, that is the lady's side, one couldn't find their sister. So they traced and they found her with that gentleman that is from different Zongo tribes. So they sent her away and per the instructions or the information that I had from my commander. The lady went back later on, and the brothers went back to bring her home and warned the gentleman that was interested in her. So, but when they went back, the argument ensued, and spontaneously there was reaction between the two youths. So they got at each other, and thankfully the security were around, so they separated them.
Mr. Akum, so essentially what you're telling us is that this has to do with somebody's woman being taken by another.
Not that I haven't said that. I'm saying that there are two tribal societies. So one of the tribes, the gentleman was interested in a lady from a different tribe. So apparently they've been going out together. So the lady went to the gentleman's family house. And per the information that I had, the lady's brothers or siblings were not interested in that kind of relationship. So they went to bring the lady home. So in the attempt of getting the lady back home, there was an argument between them, and then the gentleman's family members that were around. So it generated into arguments, and then finally into kind of clash.
All right. Has anyone been arrested in connection with the clashes?
The police were timely around, so they separated them.
And there were no injuries at all?
There were. Two gentlemen, I understand, actually were at each other, and then they actually fought, and then the two of them got injured, and then they were sent to the hospital, and then I understand one got discharged, and then the other one, I believe, per my information, by this time should have been discharged.
Now, the residents we have spoken with are saying that they believe that there's an underlying problem.
It's true. It's true, Israel.
All right. So what is being done to address that?
Yes. I will not want to go into the nitty-gritty of it, but it's a religious impasse amongst some of the tribes in the Zongo. And over the years, it has been simmering amongst them. And a lot of stakeholders have intervened. They've come in. Peace Council has come in. RESEC has come in. Traditional leaders in Nandom, they've come in. Religious leaders have come in. Now, to the extent that for now, the situation got calm, and then we were looking forward to see how we could finalize the resolution. But unfortunately, this issue that happened is entirely unrelated to the religious or the Islamic impasse that exists with relation to who becomes the chief imam. It's entirely different from it. Well, but we can say that because the people that are fighting over the imamship belong to different kind of tribes. It might have also influenced this current situation, but it is not directly linked to the chief imam impasse that exists in Nandom for so many years.
All right. Thank you very much, Thaddeus Akum. Thaddeus Akum is the DC for Nandom. Moving on to other stories, President Akufo-Addo says decisions about development in Ghana will be based on which community or region merits it the most and not the tribe, religious or political affiliation of its people. The president was speaking at the Jubilee House during a courtesy call by the Santehene Otumfuo Tutu II, gave the assurance his government's plan for social and infrastructural development will be felt in every part of the country. There's more in this report.
The visit, the first since Nana Akufo-Addo assumed office, afforded the two leaders the opportunity to discuss matters of national interest. President Akufo-Addo assured political consideration will not be a factor in the development of a nation.
But either the lesson that was given in Chibi is the lesson that should be taken across Ghana about the need for unity amongst our people. And for us to understand that, yes, we may be of diverse origins and histories and customs, but essentially, we are all part and parcel of the Ghanaian fabric. And that is what we need to hold on to maintain the unity, the coherence, and the stability of our nation. It is a signal of my determination also to make sure that all parts of our nation are touched by the program of transformation and development that my government is committed to. And that every part of Ghana will benefit from my mandate. I don't want to be a mandate that is exclusive to one side or the other. So where things need to be done, they will be done on their merits, not as a result of any particular inclination for one set of Ghanaians or the other. That's why I was particularly happy that on my recent tour in Ashanti, I was able to unveil the program for repairing the parlor state, the very tragic state of the road infrastructure in Asante, which has been allowed to degenerate for so long.
The president also assured, despite anticipated challenges with the rollout of a double-track system to accommodate new entrants of a free senior high school program, government will ensure the sustainability of the program.
I also thank you for the steadfast support you have given the government over the implementation of the free SHS policy. I know it has not been an easy matter for the nation, finding the resources and the determination to do it, but I believe that if for nothing, my period on the stage of Ghana should be identified with ensuring that every Ghanaian child, no matter the circumstances of their birth, no matter where they live in our country, has access to a minimum of secondary school education to be able to propel them to be able to live in this 21st century. The new program of the double-track system is all in furtherance of ensuring that every child in Ghana has access to a minimum quality education. The first year, 90,000 more students came into the stream This year, 180,000 more, an increase of 31%. It's unprecedented across the African continent, such statistics. And that we have devised this method of being able to ensure that every one of them has access to good education.
The Asante-Hene's visit to the presidency was a first under the Akufo-Addo government, with a delegation of 30 chiefs, including paramount from the Ashanti, Bonahafo, Volta, and Easting. Otumfuo Osei II encouraged the president to work assiduously to deliver on the promises made to Ghanaians.
And never be brew out to Ija. So I'm pa or buy a name to Ija or can't say Obogana for one Basso Barbayano. Bibit is a free senior high school, one district, one factory, planting for food and jobs in Indiana. Wash us here with Hujuma.
Still at the presidency, President Nana Akufo-Addo has declared a full state burial for the late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, a ceremony befitting a global icon, diplomat and statesman. The funeral is likely to take place on September 13, 2018, should the family of the late diplomat accept the president's offer. Addressing a 7-member delegation from the family at the Jubilee House, the president said all expenses for the funeral will be fully taken care of by the state, adding the State Protocol Department will be liaising with the family to work out all the full modalities for the funeral.
That the Ghanaian people expect that a man of his stature and record should be given full honors by the state of Ghana. So I have decreed that he should have a state funeral in his honor, in his memory. Looking at arrangements, thinking that the date which you mentioned, the 13th of September, would be the most appropriate date, so that it doesn't become a long drawn-out matter. So I'm happy that the family and you find that an acceptable arrangement. Burma Camp has created a new cemetery, and there's a portion that has been allocated for VIPs, civilian VIPs. I think that would be the most appropriate place to lay him to rest. That is where the former Vice President, Kwesi Amisa-Arthur, was recently buried, and also the veteran statesman J.H. Mensah, the first two people to be buried there. I think it would be a very appropriate place to put Kofi. So that would be the arrangements of the state. This is a state funeral, so the responsibility for the arrangements are that of the Ghanaian state. I think your bit is to mourn, but you will not have any of the financial burdens involved in organizing such a thing.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but still ahead, latest Ghana Statistical Service figures show the number of women dying during the birth of their children has declined in the last 10 years. The authorities, however, concerned maternal mortality is still too high. We'll bring you that story in another station. There's been a decline in the number of mothers dying in the delivery of their babies. Though this is good news, the authorities are not that excited because they're concerned the numbers are still too high. The Ministry of Health operational plan aims to reduce the maternal mortality ratio by 2,000 deaths per 100,000 live births by 2030. The latest figures from the Ghana Statistical Service also shows the number of women giving birth in health facilities has also increased from 54% in 2007 to 79% in 2017. Efwa Evans-Chenry reports.
A 2017 maternal health survey shows Ghana's maternal mortality ratio is 310 deaths per 100,000 live births, with improvement in antenatal and delivery care coverage. Since 2007, more women are attending 4 or more antenatal care visits and beginning antenatal care within their first trimester. Nationwide delivery in health facilities has increased over the past 10 years from 54% in 2007 to 79% in 2017. Although 20% of births or stillbirths are still delivered at home, putting mothers and babies at risk. According to acting government statistician Bawadie, these findings must be utilized for decision-making by health professionals.
Completing the survey and presenting the results is only part of the process of measures aimed at improving maternal health in Ghana. We need to make sure that the survey findings are utilized for decision-making by health professionals at the national, regional, district, and community levels, as well as by researchers, policymakers, and politicians. Therefore, there is the need as program managers and researchers to interrogate the findings to really find out ways to further improve maternal health in Ghana.
The survey also shows that fertility in Ghana has decreased over the past 3 decades from 6.4 children per woman in 1988 to 3.9 children per woman in 2017, which means women in Ghana have an average of about 4 children. General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Justice Youngson Bar, says although there's a decline, we must acknowledge the gap that still exists and work towards bridging it.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime to bring you business news. Stay tuned.
Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to business. Over 3,000 traditional restaurants and drinking bars in the Ashanti region risk being closed down if they fail to register or renew their licenses by next week. The Ghana Tourism Authority says hotels, recreational centers, and related facilities will also be affected in the clampdown. Ashanti Regional Manager Peter Champon led a team in an exercise to sanitize service provision as part of a nationwide program.
Officials inspected Mercy Land Event Grounds, Konfanochi Guest House, Rexma Hotel, Henry Lemon Pub, and Kofo House Pub. 8 of such facilities were locked up for failing to meet industry requirements in breach of the law. Legislative instruments 2238 and 2239 require all operators in the tourism industry to register before commencement of business. Mr. Champon says besides compelling operators to comply with the law, the exercise will ensure increased revenue for government.
It's about clampdown of illegal operators in the hospitality industry. If we say this, we are talking of hotels, restaurants, travel and tours, car rentals, and hostels and all the others which have not registered with the Ghana Tourism Authorities, and they are operating. We call that illegal. And there are others who have also registered, but they haven't got their license yet, and they are still operating. Another one on the proper informal sector. When I talk of informal sector, I mean the bars and the drinking bars. There are a lot of them which have not come to the office to come and register with us. And all this, we have given them a lot of warnings that they should come to register and be licensed, but they have not been coming to the office. So we're going to do exercise and close down all those units.
So informal sector, how many should we expect?
Informal sector in Ashanti region, let's expect about more than 3,000. There are more than 3,000 units.
Meanwhile, the authority says it will soon descend on pubs and other facilities for excessive noise pollution.
Reduce the noise making at the residential areas, especially the pubs and the drinking bars. Let's call them drinking bars. They have to reduce the noise at the residential areas. Yes, because most of them registered, some of them registered with us as restaurants, but they have now turned them into spots that they make a lot of noise. So we just plead with them that they have to reduce the level of noise at those areas so that the residents can have their peace. If they bring their speakers out, we plead with them that they should send them inside so that it doesn't make noise to disturb the residents.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
The current banking reform is impacting negatively on investment companies. That's according to investment banker and CEO of Echo Capital Investments, Dela Agbo, who was sharing his thoughts on how the current action by the central bank to sanitize the banking sector has also affected activities of investment houses. Dela Agbo noted the situation is making it difficult to meet benchmarks set by investors who have virtually lost confidence in the banking sector.
Don't believe in buying shares. Now, the small monies that people have invested by UT shares too, they have not made decision on it. Technically, assuming it has collapsed, naturally, it means that all the shareholders, including the stock market, they also do not get anything. But in Ghana, I would have thought that GCB or the researcher should at least, if they can, at least give something small back to the investors that bought those shares, at least, so that people don't get scared. Because now people are afraid. Oh, okay, I bought some UT shares. Due to the UT collapse, still I've not gotten anything. Now I did fixed deposit. So, you know, it creates a lot of panic. So I think equity side they are not really mandated to really do anything on that, to give anything. But a country like Ghana, where already Ghanaians don't believe in buying shares because they are afraid of the fluctuations and things. Now this UT issue also comes, it's rather difficult for us to convince people to still invest in shares. We are now in the area now that when you recommended that, you know, XYZ of your funds, I want to invest it into fixed income and I'll place some with the bank. Say, no, don't do anything with any of the local banks. Then you go to the strong ones that tend to be foreign ones, and then they also tell you that they are stronger than BOG, they are stronger than government of Ghana, so they'll give you a rate lower than what Treasury bill rate is. So it affects investors' confidence, and it makes it difficult for us as fund managers to beat the benchmarks given to us. Because when you are managing somebody's money, the person gives you a benchmark for you to try and beat that benchmark at the end of the year. And now if you are struggling to get a product that you've been assigned to invest in, and it's difficult to get the numbers, it creates some difficulties.
That's all in business for tonight. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji-Riafe. Have a good evening.
Now, the Supreme Court Judge nominee Nena Megache is blaming the falling standards of legal education in the country on the National Accreditation Board. He says the springing up of several law schools in the country without adequate facilities is worrying. He said these when he appeared before Parliament's Appointments Committee on Friday, where two nominees were vetted for approval. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has more.
On Friday, two individuals who've been appointed as judges of the Supreme Court appeared before Parliament's Appointments Committee for vetting. Justice Agnes Doje, who is currently a member of the bench already and has been promoted, appeared earlier. And subsequently, Nene Amegache, the former president of the GBA, who has been appointed to the Supreme Court, also appeared before the committee. Justice Agnes Doji raised a number of issues. She complained about the quality of work that the police are doing currently when it comes to various investigations, and made the point that some of them do not meet the very standards that they had set for themselves years ago, and that it's about time that police step up in terms of how they conduct their investigations if they would be able to win cases in court. She also called for the expansion of legal aid to persons who fall foul of the law and need to be taken through the processes. She said it's about time that more lawyers are encouraged to provide such services so that then legal representation is provided for all persons.
I am not, because they lack personnel. So cases assigned to that office, there are only a few of them that help. And so far as what is happening now is concerned, if a few more lawyers will volunteer to help.
But a question was put to her about whether it was about time that a ceiling is put on the number of justices who are usually appointed to the Supreme Court. We're having the highest number in the history of Ghana currently, which is 15. But she says, well, that shouldn't be a big deal. As to how many justices are appointed to the Supreme Court should still be left to the discretion of the executive arm of government. Nena Megacha responded to a number of issues, including what is leading to the situation of legal education, the standard falling in the country. He thinks the National Accreditation Board should be made to take the fall in terms of how the situation is appearing so, and that it's about time that the General Legal Council is given the outright authority to regulate those who even set up faculties in various universities when it comes to legal education. Nena Megachi also responded to issues that had been raised in the past about how the Ghana Bar Association, under his leadership, questioned the appointment of previous Supreme Court justices. Well, he says it was nothing personal, and they had to do it to set records straight. Nena Megachi also responded to questions about how he had previously claimed there was corruption in the judiciary and that there had been instances of judges accepting bribe, and him claiming in previous media reports that a large portion of judges at the Supreme Court today were persons who took bribe. Well, he defended those comments, indicating that some of it amounted to misrepresentation and that he wasn't exactly questioning the integrity of the justices who had been appointed to the Supreme Court. Take reports and make recommendations to the General House on whether these individuals should be approved or otherwise when Parliament resumes from its break. From Parliament House in Accra, my name is Joseph Opoku-Gakpo.
There is heavy police and military presence on the campus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology as both Unity and Katanga halls received the first batch of female students. Africa Hall, an all-female hall of residence, has also been converted to mixed halls after some agitation from the alumni. On Friday, Kumasi High Court denied an injunction application from the alumni, paving way for the school authorities to allocate rooms to female students. Nana Ajima has more in the following report.
Both male and female students are filing into all three single-sex halls, converted into mixed halls in a bid to secure accommodation. Armed police and military men, numbering about 40, augment school security to curtail any group or individual agitation. University Relations Officer Kwame Yeboah Jr. outlines security measures in place.
Definitely, yes. We are in contact with the security of the country and the region. We also have our own security, and as I indicated earlier, we have put in certain measures. We have cameras on campus in the halls. We have access into the halls are controlled. You enter with a card, so not everybody has access to the hall. Even though if you want to enter, you can. If you don't have the card, the security guy there would ensure that the person entering has the right to enter. An unauthorized person wouldn't be allowed into the halls. So we've put in security measures, yes.
The main accommodation facility at Katanga has been allocated to female students, whilst the annex will take the males only. One of the two twin towers in both Unity and Africa halls will be allocated to opposite sexes. Mr. Yeboah reiterates the university puts interest of students above any group or individual.
We have the main hall, we have the annex blocks. But we've managed to keep male, female, even in the main hall, because we have demarcations. We have the east wing, we have the west wing, we have the bridge in the case of the main halls. So it's not a problem. In the case of Queen's Unity Hall, we have two blocks. So the easiest thing to do is to give one to females, give one to males. So it's not a problem. It's something we've been doing, or we've done before. So it's not something difficult for us to do. We are focused as an institution. Once it's been done, we're going to ensure that the students are checked into their rooms. Tomorrow it's going to continue, and then orientation starts. By Wednesday, hopefully, the students are going to start with whatever they are here for. So we are focused on what we are doing. Yeah.
Female students will not be allowed to be recorded, but they say they are unfazed by threats issued by alumni due to police and military presence. Reporting for Joy News, Nana Aljima, Kumasi.
President Akufo-Addo has nominated Samuel Nuete Ayete as Deputy Minister Designate for the Eastern Region. This follows the resignation of Joseph Tete, Member of Parliament for Upper Manyakrobo, last Friday. Samuel Ayete is currently a lecturer at the Koforidua Technical University and was the New Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate for the Lower Manyakrobo constituency in the 2016 general elections. Joseph Tete has explained he is redirecting his energies in focusing on his duties as a parliamentarian will be more helpful to the party and himself to ensure the NPP maintains the seat in the constituency. Now, the West African Examinations Council has withheld the entire results of 2,061 candidates who sat for the 2018 BECE. In a press statement released by the examination body and signed by Deputy Director of Public Affairs, the Council also cancelled the entire results of 83 candidates for engaging in examination malpractice. Now, the youth of Anafo in Cape Coast have turned a huge storm drain in the town, noted for open defecation and other illicit activities, into a football alley. The gutter, which chokes each time it rains as a result of the huge pile of rubbish and fecal matter, now looks clean, with hundreds of people gathering to watch football played in there. Richard Kodonyako has more.
The sun is setting on a Thursday, and for the people here at Anafo, there is more than an excitement. The participation of people in this is unimaginable. This place is one of the places that represents the indigenous Cape Coast. There are over 100 pair of eyes fixing their gaze on a football match that is being played in this big gutter.
It has been since of age. We started going from here, and this has been since about some 80s. And we grew up to see it, so we started it, and we have grown enough to let the kids also start like this. Nowadays, you know, some of the youth have become drug abuse, and we are using this to preventing them to go to that places. Now, the teams which are playing is 2FC and the Tampico boys. This community has not any pitch. Before we used to play at Turi Park.
Kwesi Bedu is one of the youth here. He believes their newfound love will help the youth in the community give up on some social vices they're engaged in. This gutter chokes each time it rains because people defecate and throw all kinds of waste. But the young men here are determined to change the narrative and the actions that make this place weird. Nana Poku is the youth leader of Jackson Street. He says they intend to play their own leg in the gutter to prevent people from defecating in the gutters and throwing things in the gutter as well. You realize that this gutter had been abused. People threw in all sorts of things. You see people defecating in as well. We want to stop such a behavior and maintain the gutter as clean as you see it. The excitement on the faces of the people here knows no bounds. The young and the old are all here to make it a football festival. The match between the Tampico boys and the Du boys is in the second half, and the Tampico boys are riding high. They are leading by 2-1. Richard Kodonyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Also, the Vice-Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is bemoaning society's reluctance to accept women into high positions. Professor Kwesi Obri-Danso believes it is about time women were given opportunities to take on higher roles. He made his remarks at a STEM Girls Camp program at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, for 80 girls from selected senior high schools in the Ashanti region. Women in Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics Ghana, Wisdom GH, in collaboration with the Office of the Vice-Chancellor KNUST, spearheaded the initiative to demystify studying of STEM by women at the tertiary level. Love FM's Kofi Deborah has more in this report.
Participants were exposed to activities of research centers like the E-Crime Bureau, Forensic Laboratory, and Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research. Others are Chemical Engineering Laboratory at KNUST, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and Natural Resources Fisheries. The students had teaching sessions on mathematics, chemistry, physics, ICT, and were also exposed to several laboratory sessions in chemistry and physics. Various talks were held on career opportunity in STEM. The students and their tutors were educated on how to choose programs when applying to the university. KNUST Vice Chancellor Professor Kwesi Obridanso says society's reluctance to accept women in high positions must change.
Germany is doing very well because it's a woman who is in charge. New Zealand now is a woman. And gradually, women getting into key positions in our society. In Ghana, it is unheard of.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Internet Safety Foundation, Dr. Emmanuel Dinkra, drew attention to what he describes as threat of revenge pornography. He cited especially the practice of posting nude photos of people on the internet to blackmail them.
In other instances where it involves blackmail, then the lady is coerced to offer sex anytime the guy demands it, the ex demands it. So the lady will be in a new relationship, but will still be having sex with the ex, because the ex has got certain pictures and videos of her that if the new guy finds out, she's going to lose that relationship.
President of WISTEM and Provost of the College of Science, Professor Ibo Kodro, hinted of plans to extend the program to schools in rural areas.
That if this program can be extended to the rural communities, it will be very, and I think those recommendations are being taken note of, and we will see how to go about it. But to organize such programs, you need financial support, and I think that I will plead that the private sector and everyone who really wants to see women in science and technology, mathematics flourish, they should come on board.
The students worked with project supervisors who are lecturers of KNUST and WISTEM members to present project work at the closing ceremony of the 5-day non-residential camp.
I got to know more about the equipment in the science lab when we went to the field. I got to know many things about the fish. I really learned a lot.
We are going out with solutions to these seemingly difficult problems.
Reporting for Joy News, Kofi Deborah.
Making and receiving calls might seem a normal thing to you, but for the people of Chifo Bukroso, it is a rare privilege. People have to climb trees and hills in order to make or receive phone calls. Richard Kojunyakun reports the community was thrown into a festive mood when the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication and the Chifo Himang District Assembly began processes to fulfill their wish of making and receiving calls with the erection of a mast.
Bukroso is a community with a population of about 5,000. It is just 4 kilometers away from the district capital, Chifo-Himang. The main occupation of the people here is farming, but among the many challenges they face is the challenge of communication.
Even as it rains, people are defying the rains to stand at vantage points in this community to receive calls. There are scheduled calls. So if someone says that he's going to call you at 11, then you should position yourself at a particular place at 11 to receive that call. And I mean, owning a phone here is such a luxury that a lot of people would have to come to you and then you make their phone calls for them.
We don't have network coverage over here. So when somebody wants to make a call, we have to climb a hill to a specific place, or you leave your home to a vantage point of which you can get a network coverage. It really affects us because before you move from your house to get to a place, even sometimes when you went there, you can't get the coverage very well. So you may standing over there for about say 30 minutes before the network, or you can get the access to the network for you to call the person from wherever you want to call him. Some areas, because of how the topography of the land is, you need to climb to a tree to go higher before you get the network coverage.
Michael Frederick Asari is the assembly member for the Bukruso-Betimo electoral area. He describes the mood that was in the community after materials were brought to commence the processes leading to the erection of the masts to serve them.
It was a very, very happiest days in this community because
it was like a festival.
Really, it was like a festival we are celebrating over here. So everybody in this community, they all trooped to this area to come and see the materials they brought over here.
Many teachers and other government workers either refused postings to the place or did not want to stay in the community. Such people preferred to commute from the district capital to the place amidst the bad road network. The chief of the community, Nana Yaobedu the Sus, is happy that the erection of the masts will surely open the community for development.
Though they haven't started working, but we believe it will going to change the situation. When they just started, some of the teachers who are not of late are not willing to stay. They have come to me to find a place for them because of the pool. And I believe before when school will open, majority of the teachers, they will stay here and be a role model for the community. In our community here, we have a hill at the top there. And when you go there, you can have the network. So because of that, people will be going there, even 12 o'clock midnight, they will be there chatting and making calls. But I believe very soon the situation will change.
Typical in this place, I see a man climb this tree and is making a phone call, and he tells me that that is the only place he can have access to mobile connectivity or network. And it is such a huge thing here for you to receive and make a call. Such a difficult thing they would have to go through in order to make just a simple call. And in the town, it is a normal thing for people to make and receive calls here, but not any other person in this country of ours has access to the mobile network connectivity we are privy to.
District Chief Executive for Chufo Heman Lower Denchra, Emmanuel Kojonana, explains how the community received this help.
The Ghana Infrastructure Fund for Electronic Communication, GIFEC, especially the CEO, Honorable Kofi Annan, when we approached him, because I went to Bukruso, and as part of their problems, they mentioned this network problem. And so when I went to him, he also accepted to help, and now they have come to construct the masts. And it is not only Bukruso. They are going to construct one at Krapiase and Pepe Krum too, and then Bobby.
Until the community gets connected finally to be able to receive and make phone calls and surf the internet with ease, they will still be struggling to get connected to the rest of the world. Richard Kwetunyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has challenged tertiary institutions across the country to help in transforming the agriculture sector to drive government program of Ghana Beyond Aid. According to him, government spent about $2.4 million annually in importing food items into the country due to the inadequate production of essential commodities. He assures government remains committed to investing in the agricultural sector as a mechanism to develop the country. The finance minister was speaking at the commissioning of the West Africa Center for Crop Improvement on the University of Ghana campus in Accra.
So the sector has experienced very difficult challenges in recent past. The sector grew by a paltry 2.8%, that's agriculture, and 3% in 2005 and 2016 respectively, underscored by a 2.5% growth in the crop sector in 2015 and 2016. The sector has also experienced a declining share of GDP, consistent with the relatively slow growth in the sector and improved performance by industry and services. This called for government action to stem that tide that to a large extent influenced the implementation of the Planting for Food and Jobs program and other interventions in the sector which have helped to improve the fortunes in agriculture. The crop sector then grew by 9.4% last year, 2017, the first year of implementing the planting for food, from a growth of 2.5% in 2016. This, together with other subsectors, pushed agriculture GDP to grow by 8.4% in real terms in 2017, compared to 3% in 2016. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and I think we can do it. But I think really, I mean, the challenge, even as we seem to ignore the universities, is the universities also being able to develop models to really test whether what we decide to do is actually yielding the results or whether we are throwing money away. And that has to be independent of what government is doing, you know, given a basic analytical way for us to be able to judge a lot better what we are doing. Because finance ministry or fund, but we are stronger when we have information, so that when the Greek people come and talk all the talk, I can take out numbers and say this is not working, or this is not because of this policy that we put in place, but it's something else. And that will help save a lot of money. So, Mr. Chairman, we concede that our resolve to transform agriculture in Ghana will require a greater concerted effort where government, academia, farmers, and suppliers play key roles. WAEC, as a Center for Postgraduate Training and Research in Crop Improvement in Africa, is established to nurture and train the next generation of plant breeders and seed scientists, as we have been told. It is an integral component of Ghana's agriculture through high quality research, teaching, and learning.
And that's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel Lai. You have a good night and a great weekend.
This is Joy News Prime.